King wire rope electric hoist. An electric hoist of such strength, ruggedness, and quality that its superiority speaks for itself.
Did I hear somebody mention my name? Hiya, fellas. Oh, you're surprised to hear me speak. Well, they said I could do everything but talk, so I decided I'd try that too. Load King is my name, one of the Yale boys. This is my little brother, Midget King. For his size, the toughest, hardest working little electric hoist in the neighborhood. Capacity-wise, the Midget King and I are fairly alike. He has a slightly wider range of tonnage, but I'm more adaptable to more applications. And, of course, you all know my big brother. Now, he's the powerful, dependable Cable King, the mainstay of thousands of production lines. I get my looks and strength from the Cable King side of the family. You see, I sort of round out the Yale Hoist family. I handle loads up to a ton. I'm an extra husky wire rope job, and I carry a price tag you can look at and grin. Now, I'd like to point out to you some of my special features. But while I can talk, I can't point. So I'll call on my brilliant assistant, Miss... So I'll call on my assistant, Miss Queen, to help point out to you my features and fixtures. Basically, I start out as an ordinary lug type. Queenie, show them my lug.
What a funny kind of lug you have, L.K. Why, you have a square head.
Sure, Queenie, but this kind of lug design makes me adaptable to all kinds of installations. After all, how do we know where I'll be needed a year from now? For example, maybe I'll do the job best hung from a permanent structure, like an I-beam. Or else, I can be suspended by a top swivel hook from a chain or cable over a beam. I often work this way as a maintenance tool. Then, when they want me to carry a load around, I quickly adapt to a plain trolley. And notice how I can be put at right angles to the track or parallel to it, whichever you need. As for size, take a look at my overall dimensions. I average only 21 inches high and only 14 inches wide, which means that in spite of my strength, I can squeeze into tight spots or get close to walls. Now, to let you in on something, I'm going to strip down and show you how well I'm built. Queenie, I'm really put together. You don't have a thing on me.
And just what do you mean by that remark, L.K.?
Well, take a look at my frame. Plenty of toughness in that armor of steel. Oh, wow. And did you know my motor is especially designed for hoist duty? Yep. Rated in accordance with DEMA specifications. In other words, under normal service, I'll lift full rated loads without getting hot under the collar. Show them my X-ray picture, Queenie. I want them to see how the power that my motor produces is transmitted through the shaft and stepped up through 3 sets of gears. You should hear my engineers boast about them.
Triple reduction gear train.
No overhanging pinions. Chrome nickel steel forgings. Heat treated. Hardened and ground.
Individually tested for hardness, heat treatment, accuracy, form, and fit.
20-degree full depth tooth. Straight spurs with modified involute tooth form.
What they're saying is that you never saw a better set of molars than my gear teeth. Now, the brake that controls the drift of my motor is the external contracting drum type. And if it ever needs adjustment, that's easy to do. This plunger type solenoid moves the brake shoe into braking position. While the main purpose of the motor brake is to control motor drift, my motor brake can also hold the full capacity load of the hoist. Not that it's required to, but it can, just in case. Ordinarily, the automatic Weston load brake does this part of my job. And do you know it operates practically forever without adjustment? That's because it's a screw and disc type load brake. As the braking surfaces wear from contact, the screw gear automatically compensates for the wear. Fellas, I hate to brag, but, thank you. Thank you. I hate to brag about myself, but, but the combination of the Western load brake and the independently acting motor brake gives double safety. Both of these brakes of mine operate whether the power is on or off. And if the current is accidentally shut off, that load is held.
GLK, you're a smooth operator.
I'll tell you why. I have the right kind of ball bearings in all the right places. Show 'em, Queenie. I have sealed ball bearings on my motor. My cable drum is mounted on precision ball bearings. My gear and pinion ball bearings are double shielded. And to handle thrust loads in the gear train, I have ball bearings on all high-speed gearing. And the reason I continue to run smoothly is that I'm thoroughly oiled. Now, don't get me wrong. What I mean is that my gears and load brake operate in an oil bath. Okay, now let me show you how foolproof I am. If the operator forgets how high the hook is traveling, my upper safety limit stop does his thinking for him. Or her. As soon as the load block hits the safety paddle of... Hey, Queenie! Queenie! Well, anyway, what really happens is that it breaks the circuit and returns the controller to neutral. You see, if the load block does happen to go too far, the motor reverses for a second. My cable drum is enclosed in the hoist frame, so it's protected from the weather, guarded from mechanical abuse. Notice that the drum has machine-cut grooves so that the cable doesn't pile up and cut itself to pieces. That cable is anchored in my drum, like the Rock of Gibraltar. But it's easily removed when necessary. My drum can roll up cable for a 10-foot lift without overlapping. Incidentally, this steel cable is a special flexible aircraft type. And flexibility is a real advantage where there's side lift in handling a load. And fellas, do you realize that although I'm available to lift up to 2,000 pounds, it would take more than 13,000 pounds to break that cable?
But LK, tell them what you do when you're overloaded.
Overloaded? Oh, yes, overloaded. My safety steel hook will stand load pressures up to 150% of its rated capacity without changing its dimensions. Then it opens slowly without fracture, before any of my other parts are strained. You see, when I'm overloaded, my safety hook gives visible warning. It's an exclusive Yale feature. Also, I'm particularly proud of my magnetic push-button control, contactor type. Automatically returns to neutral. As a safety factor, the power at the push-button station is only 115 volts, equivalent to ordinary house current. This hoist control offers two advantages. One, it makes for efficient one-hand operation. The other hand is always free to guide the load or move the hoist along the I-beam. Two, it gives a fast-making brake that makes possible close spotting or inching of load. And did I tell you that my Load King trolley has ball bearings, too? For easier travel along the I-beam? Just another way I save effort. Now I'd like to show you what I can do because of my strength and ruggedness. Hey, Queenie, it's my muscles and power that we're talking about. I can lift anything from 1/4 of a ton up to a ton at speeds ranging from 12 to 35 feet per minute. Here's how I do it. As the speed of the lift and the weight of the load increase, I use a larger and larger horsepower motor. For loads up to 500 pounds, to be lifted at the rate of 12 feet a minute, I use a quarter horsepower. Now, if you'd like that same load to be lifted at a faster rate of, say, 35 feet per minute, I can do that too with a half horsepower motor. The same ratio of horsepower to hoisting speed applies to the 1 or 2,000 pound hoist using a 1 horsepower motor. But what am I telling you this for when the information is in the Load King Bulletin?
I don't know much about horsepower, but I must say you can lift quite a range of loads at quite a few different speeds. You seem to be a very adaptable fellow, L.K.
Adaptable? You said it. Shall I tell them about my adaptability to all kinds of electrical power sources?
Oh, you mean that business about single, double, triple phase, or direct current?
Yes. If it's 110 or 220-volt single-phase current, I can work on 60-cycle, 50-cycle, or 25-cycle power. Or if you have direct current. Or if it's 2 or 3-phase power. Or even only 25-cycle power. Well, I work well on that, too. The important thing to remember about powering your hoist is to not powder, Queenie. Power. The important thing is always to give me the power I need. Don't put me on an overloaded line, which I have to share with other guys. Say, there are lots more things I could tell you about myself, such as ease of maintenance. No, Queenie. Put down that wrench. I need very little maintenance. I'm always ready to give production a lift. But before you know it, I'll be a talking hoist that's talking his head off. Well, what do you know? I did it again. So I guess I'd better get to work. I don't need to worry, though. Lots of production men who have used me will do my talking for me.
And that's our Yale Load King. There's no other wire rope electric hoist like it.
Well, what do you know? A talking man.